Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching in the world. Sean Driver with producer B, Brendan, in the background. We're here for the watch parties. You know you were addicted to football and Wrexham and this entire experience when Wrexham's not even playing and you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning looking up all sorts of important things already to try and get all caught up. If you haven't heard the news, you can go to Twitter, tweet more chips, eat more chips, has their post out there identifying the Virtue Trophy outcome for the semifinals. We've got Bolton on Tuesday as a reminder. That's not the league game. That's the quarterfinal. We're the last team to play the quarterfinal because of the delay in getting the Port Vale game going. And so we know that if we manage to beat Bolton on Tuesday, we will be in the semifinals at home against Peterborough. Posh. Coming on up. The other draw, Bradford City had beaten Rotherham. Birmingham was also through. They're playing each other. So that's going to be at Birmingham. So I was joking off camera that the EFL gods are lining themselves up to favor a Birmingham Wrexham final and doing everything they can to try and get that to happen at Wembley. So that's an exciting piece of news. As it sits for us here, we're going to watch two games, and I think that they're really largely the only ones that matter. We were kind of wondering, I mean, Brendan's here, we could have watched multiple games, but I think we're just going to stay with this. I'm taking the Stockport County coverage. Brendan, I haven't even introduced and said hi, how are you, and all that sort of stuff. So what's going on? How are you?
I'm definitely thinking I've totally bought in, right? If there was any question, well, any North Americans would be sleeping or finding something else to do on this Saturday morning. But no, we're here, and we're
slowly waking up,
watching anything related to Wrexham, right? So we're here to see how their opponents are doing. Teams that could face in the playoffs if we fell to the playoffs, right? So
it's
crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And the best part about it was I went to bed not too bad, but both of my kids were in the bed at 2:30, and my wife's got a bad back, so she was up immediately, and she was like, deal with the kids. So I've been funneling and shuttling back and forth to their bedrooms, and was like, now I got them to sleep. It's 3:30. Now what do I do? So I am going to be struggling today. And that's okay. We're here. We're doing our thing. I've got the game set up over here. I've been charging my headset to make sure I've got enough power. So the graphics up on the screen. There's the draw. Easiest Wembley final ever. W&G. You are a bold man. If I made statements like that, W&G, Brendan would have my backside for jinxing things. So stay easy if we beat Bolton on Tuesday. Whew, bold. But I mean, this is what we're in for. We're 2 wins away from Wembley. I didn't catch this. Fearless and Devotion tweeted this one out last week at some point in time that said this would be the 5th time in 12 years that Wrexham will potentially made it to
Wembley.
To Wembley. Largely the FA Trophy, which was the National League competition. But you know what? You take it. You take your runs, and that'd be a ton of fun to be there in April. I should talk to Jason Smith and say, schedule your flight to go around that window, because to have the opportunity to go and watch Wembley, I don't think I'm going to be able to delay our trip as much as I'd like. Do we want to talk about the Stockport County stuff? Do we want to talk about what we can expect for Bolton? How do we want to handle this one, Brendan? Because my brain is still not firing. What do you guys want to hear? I've had 4 of you. Oh, by the way, for the 4, 5, 6, 8, I can see that we're increasing. We've like tripled since we've jumped in. Hit that like button, because I need you guys to get this thing fired up so that we know the algorithm gods know that we're here and we can get all that out. If you're watching this on Twitter, you're watching this on Twitch, jump over onto YouTube, youtube.com/TheRedHorde, and join us there. Brendan, what's your thoughts? What's your preferred topic? Do you want to talk about the changes in Stockport County? Do you want to talk about us on Tuesday and what to expect? Do you want to talk about stronger coffee?
I don't know. There's so much. I don't know. We can touch on Bolton and Tuesday, right? Like that's the most exciting. There's not everyone here yet today. I'm sure we'll go back to it because people will chime in and not see the beginning of this show. But yeah, what do you think, without jinxing us, as long as you're not going to say something outrageous, what do you think Tuesday will be like?
I don't want to get. I feel like our banana skin game, if there is one, is this one on Tuesday. And I will say that because I think when you get to the semifinal and you are one step away from getting to Wembley, I don't think it matters who's in front of you. You're up for that game. I think for this one, we will have the benefit of the power of the race course and the force that it brings behind us. I think that the idea that Wembley is on the horizon, that even though it is a Virtu Trophy game, we'll still have a relatively full house, but I don't expect it to have the large draw that we would get for a league match. I think the benefit may be that we've got such a big gap in the league matches between games that we may draw in those people who, it's tough when you come post-Christmas and you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 home games all in a row, but they've been somewhat staggered here. So it's possible that we'll get a draw. I don't know. I think it goes to a coin flip on pens.
Wow. I think I disagree with everything other than we'll get a boost from being in Wrexham. For me, and I'm hitting wood. Yeah, I would have thought the last game against Port Vale was the banana peel, right? Because now it's so close. You even know who you're playing next. I mean, you're right there. You can see it all now. Like I think we want a piece of Bolton. We lost to them at Bolton. Serious team. It's not like you can take them for granted. And I feel
and a somewhat
like
neutered team. I mean, I guess it depends on what you think, what your take is on Dion. For me, he's been the most overrated striker, other than maybe Humphreys, of the season. And I say Humphreys only based on dollar value, not based on.
But he's gone, right? Didn't Charles move?
Yes, that's what I mean. So they're without him.
Yeah.
So he's moved on, and so that you would think neuters them, and so
you'd expect at least adjustment time, right?
Yeah, and that's all part of it. I mean, you would expect adjustment time, but then we're sitting here looking at Stockport County, scratching our heads as they've gone 3 wins in a row and points in their last 4, and what the hell's going on, if we wanted to take that as a transition or not. But I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I'm happy to hear what people think in the chat as they're here. So W&G's listening to this when he's watching Charlton and Steven. Thomas Fitzgerald's here. We're continuing to collect people as we go through. Bump that like button as you go. You know what? I'm even going to cheat. I'm going to hit the like button to get the algorithm going, so that we can get that all going. Yeah, no, I just have an ick. I have a feeling of ick about it. And I hope that I'm wrong. Here's the things that I like about our club for the purposes of the Virtu Trophy is I like the fact that this is our only cup competition going. And you look at Birmingham, I mean, they're still in the FA and the EFL, I believe. They've drawn Newcastle United in the FA Cup, if I recall correctly. And so they've got attention all over the place. Birmingham City FC. And I believe they've got Newcastle at home. Newcastle at home today at 9:45 in the morning. So they're.
If you're writing the script, don't you want Birmingham though?
Oh, I do. I do want them, but they're busy all the way through, and so that leads to some advantages if they're able to take on Newcastle. Even if they're not, they're going to have this match in the FA Cup and they're all that sort of stuff. Bolton, I don't know how they're going to be treating it. And how what's your take on our depth versus Bolton? I would say on par. They're an experienced they're an experienced club, lots of history, lots of people there to fill in reserve, and so they've got their game today. Then they play on Tuesday. Then they play next Saturday. We're off today, and so Can we swing a little bit harder? Maybe that's the tilting advantage and the benefit that we have. But I just don't know why I have this sense of ick. If we can get through that one, and it's no disrespect to Posh, God, I would hate to lose to them because their fans are the freaking worst. But I think we can handle them. And yeah, Mansfield, another loss for them. Thomas Fitzgerald says 3-1 Wrexham win over Bolton. I think it goes to a coin flip on Pence. I don't know. I remember Bradford City last year and the hiccups that we had against them in the cup competitions and losing to Pens and just couldn't seem to get off the ground. I don't know.
I want to stay optimistic. I'm jumping on board with Thomas. I'm going 3-1.
You do that. I'll be the negative Nancy. We'll see how it all boils down. We're getting everything ready. They're showing off the Danny Bergara stand. Everybody at Edgeley Park, and do I dare call it Manchester to make all the Stockport fans? The suburb of Manchester, and don't call them Stockport County through the entirety of the match, just to drive them completely bonkers. I've already proved we don't lose to Bolton. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I'm sure our stadium will look as nice as theirs.
Did you see the new one, the new designs with the brickwork and the you know what I don't have an opinion on it, and I say I don't have an opinion on it because it's not what dominates my skyline, and I think it personally I like it. But I also know that there are some people who had some complaints. I also take from some people's perspective of what was there to what's going to be there. And I think that has to go into consideration as well. You had a dilapidated, condemned cop with lots of history over on that end. And even the previous version of the cop, which had the theater seats in its place in the middle, this is a clear upgrade on that. And so I think it's kind of somewhat off-putting to poke fun at it, but at the same time, I don't live there and I don't reside there, and I'm not the person who has to drive by it every day, and so I can see some people having some complaints about it being too much. And sure, I'll take that all on board, and I can understand where they're coming from. But for me, looking at that brickwork and seeing the holes through the brick that you can see through the building if you're at the right angles and stuff, I just found that fascinating. I'm excited to see what that all looks like with respect to the work, and just get the damn thing up is where I'm at with it. Did you have any thoughts on the upgraded cop?
Yeah, I shared them a little bit before. I was kind of a little harsh. I just think I was looking for a more closed stadium. It looks like we might have coughed up some seats for the average regular person for more box set up, two levels of that. I understand money wise and everything, but I really liked the long one set of seats going all the way up, and that kind of little setup in the middle where it looked like, the main box that could come out and they were almost surrounded by fans. That whole setup kind of looked pretty cool to me. I liked the design on the sides. It looked like it really funneled the noise forward, where this looks kind of more open, where it's not going to be doing as good a job at that. I like architecturally. I like when you come into a place and it's not 9 foot or 3 meter ceilings or something like that, but it goes up several stories. And the old one did that, so you'd think you'd walk in, it would feel big and grand.
Yeah.
This, every level separated. I like the fact that it's all glass and it looks out through that brick facade thing.
Yep.
That looks pretty cool. But I was looking for a little bit more of a statement on the outside. I would have liked that a brick to be a big W or something that's Wrexham, something, a signature. And I was saying that this is the stand that's going to have to be grandiose, because if you're not taking down the housing, you can't go back there. So it's just going to be the redo of the logger stand can't be huge. Wouldn't make sense to have the tech stand be super, because everyone's entering from the other side, the cop side, where the train station is. So you're not going to be doing over the Mold Road side. There's not enough room there. So the place where you could go big and that's where you see the stadium from. They didn't. I don't think they didn't go big enough, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'd bigger. It's supposed to be potentially something that they can expand on, and I don't necessarily understand that because of the as you've already identified, the university housing that's over there. But look, it looks imposing. I like what Des said here about it looks like a castle and also like a dragon spine, and I like that the Rubon brick being identified there. So it's exciting time. I'm just sitting here watching as they're getting onto the pitch for this one. Stockport County and Barnsley is why we're here to take this one in. And so we've got lots of time. We're here all day. We're going to be able to talk about all sorts of stuff. A couple of notes, obviously. Louis Barry, long gone. He's been returned back. The names that you are going to want to watch for this one, Micah Hamilton, he's on loan, came in. He's had 2 games with them already. He's got English U20 experience. He's from Man City. That's 5'10". He's going to be an attacking midfielder or winger. He's on their right-hand side today. Their other inbounds during the January window, at least as far as the loan, they brought in Sam Cosgrove, who just came from Barnsley. So that's just sort of jumping over. Hasn't had any minutes yet. And then Brad Hills is actually getting his first start today for them. He's on loan from Championship squad Norwich City. So I think that's what we've already seen that. Mertlin, nice to see you, my friend. Let's Go Barnsley's already in there. For those of you that are following along, and I don't have the table up, but I'll just bring it up. Stockport, they've gone undefeated in their last, or wins in their last 4. Since Louis Barry's gone, they lost that first one, and then they've gone on an absolute rip and won 4 in a row. For Barnsley, they've sort of done the inverse and fallen off a cliff. They've had 4 games in a row without points, and they've lost 3 out of their last 4. They got a tie in the last one, so they've fallen off. This game in Stockport, I think most people are going to be cheering for Barnsley. They're sitting at 43 points to Stockport's 50 points. But why don't we put it out here and put that as the first part of the poll? And we're underway. Sorry, you might as well get that clock going, and I'll follow along here. What do you want? What do you want out of this one? And we'll give it a Stockport win, a draw, or a Barnsley win. And the top 3 not playing today. And so if you are Stockport, you're going to be going to 30 matches where everybody else has less than you. At least Wickham and Wrexham will have 1 game in hand. Birmingham's going to have 3 in hand after this one. So for them to draw up to 53 points, not urgent necessary, like it's end of the world if they can't do it, but certainly going to be a big deal. So we're underway. 40 seconds is where we're at. I'll give the minute upgrade here as an update in a little bit of time as we start to get adjusted to everything. WG is going to update us on the FA Cup Championship in League 2. Obviously, we already identified. All right, maybe that was off camera. Birmingham City in action today against Newcastle in Birmingham. So that's 4th round of the FA Cup having its crush today. And Lake Leco.
I don't know.
Help me with the pronunciation. Charlton and Steve just kicked
just
off.
Say it with confidence, right?
Whatever it is. Oh, and the other thing that I didn't add, number 5 for Barnsley. Remember, Barnsley has their stocked, like super tall center backs. They've absolute giants in the back. Since our match, Donovan Pines has started every game for Barnsley in the middle of their back line. So he has started this one, the American international. So 1 minute 45 seconds right there, coming up to 1 minute 50. And away we go over on the right hand side. So it has been Stockport control for the most part as we get things early on crossed over in front. And it's opportunity there. Donovan Pines with the block, but unnecessary. Calling a foul. It'll be a free kick, but impressive to start.
I'm more than a minute behind. So,
oh, wow.
Unfortunately, I won't be as timely with all the little side pieces and stuff.
But the nice thing, I guess, is you can pitch in the commentary as to what they're saying in Barnsley. So that's the advantage. But, man, that is frustrating. Barnsley underway down the right. If you're looking to watch this one, Paramount obviously is where Brendan's watching it down in the U.S. And for those of you in the U.K., you can watch this on Sky Sports. It's just us other internationals outside of the USA and the U.K. who can't pick this stuff up other than iFollow, which is buried on the Stockport page. They're obviously not promoting their streaming services because it's impossible to find it.
I couldn't find it on Paramount. I had to pay for it.
Oh, you had to pay for it too. Okay, so iFollow was where it is for both. And so far, just a battle and a kickabout through the midfield with Stockport with a little tiny edge coming forward. Bait left-hand side. I'm going to turn up the announcer here.
Ruerbahn.
the Ruabon. Did I say? I said Ruabon. Sorry, I forgot to. I should know better, having a wife from the UK, not to pronounce the A's and to substitute them as R's. Only say the letter R when it doesn't exist. If it does exist, remove it. Bradford up 1-0 on Harrogate. And League Two, interesting just because, I mean, Bradford City doing its thing.
I knew our Barnsley fan would show up. I'm sorry to cut you off. Barnsley Red just showed up.
There he is. How are you? 4-1 to Barnsley against Stockport is a brave, brave shout. So far, nothing in this one. Kicking about in the midfield. And we'll watch Keeler Dunn, who always seems to play well against Wrexham. And the other games I watch, he disappears. and that's going over. Bradford City doing everything in its power to never get out of League Two. And I think that's glorious and awesome. But they're sitting in 7th right now on 48 points. So into the playoffs, just barely. Oh, they jinxed it. The Stockport County guys just saying that Hinchliffe, the keeper for Stockport County, looking for his 150th clean sheet. You know that's not going to come back. Yorkshire, White Rose. It's one of those things that let's talk stuff completely unnecessary. Maybe Barnsley Red and White can give me an honest answer and do it under cover of being anonymous. Is I've never understood the chant for the White Rose and the love for the White Rose. If you haven't watched the War of the Roses or read about it, Lancashire, Yorkshire, the battle, the Red Rose versus the White Rose, and Yorkshire lost. But they still celebrate the absolute hell out of themselves. And to me, it's kind of like, I mean, I guess it's not the racist inclinations with it post-development, but it's almost like the Confederates and the North and the South, the Blues and the Grays in the U.S. And it's I don't hear an entire population of the South singing for the benefits of the Confederacy.
Oh, yes, they do.
Some do, but it's not unanimous. The White Rose thing is unanimous. Like, it is a badge of honor. It is
a lot of Confederate flags on houses and cars and all sorts of stuff in the South.
Sure. The General Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that it's certainly there. But I don't think it's unanimous. Now, granted, I've never been further south. I mean, I guess I've been down to San Diego, so that's pretty much as far south as you can go, other than Texas.
Yeah, west of Texas is not south.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I've never been into the south. I've South Dakota is probably the furthest southeast I've been, other than New York, Philadelphia. Earl, left-hand side. Barnsley finally, for the first time, starting to move forward. A nice little block there, and just gonna get banged around. Stephen, you have no idea. I was up at 2:30 with the Munchkins, both of them in my bed, and my wife with a bad back, barking instructions to go and put them to bed. And I was like, okay, I got it. And so I've been up really since 2:30 on a 3.5-hour nap. We'll see how it goes. I could be fading. Brandon could be having to take over just because you're watching me sleep on camera.
Yeah, I'll see you make that excuse to go get your coffee and never come back.
That's exactly it. Sleeping in front of the machine. Phillips tried to do a cross right there, but blocked nicely by Toure. And well done. Toure working his butt off over on that far left corner. Blocked it down. Barnsley got more fans than Stockport. Well, it's tough when you live in the suburbs of Manchester to end up supporting a club, right? I'm just looking for the clips to go out and feed.
I've seen quite a few Barnsley content creators. I've watched a bunch of them. I like them. They're not as mean or pretentious or anything as some teams.
I would like to see, because Rotherham, Barnsley, Doncaster all right, like stone's throw away. But I don't get the sense, although haven't been to many football matches at Doncaster, and maybe because Barnsley's been so high up on this in the ladder compared to the pyramid compared to Doncaster in recent years, but I don't get the sense that there's much of a rivalry there, and it's almost too bad. Barnsley's derby. I wonder who. Barnsley. Who's your derby with?
Yeah, I don't know.
Donnie seems like the natural draw. Steven hasn't slept and he's pulled an all-nighter for this one. See the stuff we do for Wrexham. What the bloody hell are we doing here? What are we doing? Norwood with it. He lost it. And this is just midfield battle. Nobody getting really past the final third. And it's lost to Keeler Dunn. He draws it on back to De Gevigné. And he's going to push it forward through O'Keefe. Halfway line. 14. Was that 14 or 4? Oh, Collar. Sorry. I was missing who. I always love that when you see a number on the back of a jersey and you're like, who the hell is this guy? Rotherham. And I have to have much love for Rotherham. And I'm sorry to Barnsley if that's the truth, but my aunt-in-law, who's the most sweet and gentle, amazing woman on the entire planet, is from Rotherham. And although her husband he's unfortunately passed, a Sheffield Wednesday fan. The fact that she lives in Rotherham, I give the football club a lot of leeway. Ten minutes, just crossing. Nothing much happening in this one. Just a battle through the middle of the pitch. Nobody's really taking advantage of everything. If you've missed it and you're just joining late, the big news early on, they did the Virtu semifinal draw. And as I say that, here comes Stockport pushing forward over to the right-hand side. Collar pushing him and Olawafe over to the right-hand side. Noyle all the way up. Right crossbar post. Wooden pushed everybody out, just left it there, and then there is sky shot. It was kind of like a moonbeam shot. Up and down, Toure missed that one coming through with the left foot. The draw for the Virtu semifinals yet to be played. We know that Bradford City, Birmingham, and Peterborough all went through when we were playing our game against Port Vale. So they're there. So how it works out is the winner of Bolton and Wrexham will be hosting Peterborough for the semifinals. And then the other semifinal is going to have Bradford City visit Birmingham for that one. So I was joking on Twitter and here of the EFL doing everything in its power to make sure that it's a Birmingham-Wrexham final in Wembley. And so, fingers crossed. We talked about it earlier. And the other big news, if you missed it, was the Wednesday game. I put the reaction for Deandra and I, who were watching the women's match. I had a really good turnout watching that one. They needed help. If you haven't been following the women's season, to be in the top 4, they needed help. As we sat there watching the game on Sunday, they had to have Swansea lose that game and us win, which happened. Then they needed to do better than Swansea on Wednesday, and they managed to do that because Swansea drew Barry Town. Was it Barry Town or Britain Ferry? No, Britain Ferry. Drew Britain Ferry. And so we just had to defeat TNS, and we knew that with 20 minutes left, and at the death, 87th minute, and Lily Jones after a Suckley miss. I thought the Suckley miss was the end of it, and they were going to be in the bottom 4, and that was basically, just play out the rest of the season, and that's it. But no, instead, Lily Jones gets it and puts in a worldie goal of the season for the women for sure. So Stockport, Olawafe into the area, 18 yards. He's got Donovan Pines well defended. It's going to go out for a corner, but Pines. And he will always be the first MLS shout that I made that I was like, why can't a guy like Donovan Pines play here? And I suggested I didn't make a video. I was like, should I make a video? And I was like, I'm just a stupid foreigner. I probably have it wrong. And then 3 weeks later, he signed with Barnsley, and now he's drawn into the middle of their back line. There is an attacking midfielder available for the Vancouver Whitecaps if we're looking for a free agent, far post. I just don't know if he's what we need. Raposo. Bait, easy shot, right on target, just down and collected by Gauchi. I'm going to have to look up Gauchi because I don't remember him being in there. Barnsley. It's starting to tilt a little bit further to the right. I mean, nothing really dangerous, but they had the Laffy attempt on Pines, who was dealt with. They had that shot from about 19 yards out, easily collected. So they're kicking about.
Is it me, or does Hinchcliffe not look like a keeper?
Second. No, he doesn't. Maybe the team accountant. See, there's Keeler Dunn doing what he does against any other team in Wrexham.
But he certainly doesn't look like a keeper.
I saw an article that said Wrexham should target Jamie Patterson, a number 10 and second striker that has 82 goals in the championship, an interesting option. And is Patterson under contract?
Yeah, take a look at him. He looks like a rugby player or something. On a club team, not a professional.
Charlotte FC in the MLS went to Crown Legacy in North Carolina. That's odd. So I don't know if I'm really that fascinated by this decision. I mean, if you have a guy who's only played 4 games in the MLS and then had to go to the USL, that one makes me scratch my head. Just looking at the numbers, 33 years of age. I mean, yes, he was at Swansea City forever, but that doesn't look like he's on form by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if that's the comparison that we're looking at, I'd rather go with Ryan Raposo. And so he's a free agent right now, 25 years of age, attacking midfielder, can't score for the life of him, but he's a jitterbug as an attacking midfielder. He's all over the place. He's creative and he's got some great passing. And so I don't know, Canadian international, for whatever that's worth. I say a lot, but people disagree. So that would be my MLS shout for right now. Leeds will fall apart. Millwall up 1-0 on Leeds, and that's why the shout for Leeds to fall apart. Love for the Yorkshire. It's true for everybody.
I kind of like Leeds, and I don't even know why.
It's funny because they've got the history, right? And it's a history that predates us, certainly. But they've got great, passionate fans. They remind me of the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the CFL. And I know the Green Bay Packers, I guess, would be the equivalent. The Milwaukee Bucks, the team that's smaller city that punches above its weight class is the way that I get Leeds. And I'm not even talking about this game just because it's been all midfield stuff. There's another update. Sunderland goes up 1-0 on Watford. There's so many stories. It's fascinating how deep down the rabbit hole you can get watching this whole football thing and getting into it. The other crazy thing that happened is they have the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is, I guess, like the UEFA competition sort of thing for CONCACAF. I'll come back to that in a second. Entry into the box by Barnsley, easily headed away by Stockport. That was the first entry and foray really forward for Barnsley beyond the 32-yard line, and it's just knocked away by Hinchcliffe. And so they have they've expanded it beyond just, tipped over and there's a free kick there. His whole Laffy just gets kind of tumbled over, grabbed, twisted around, and that's De Gevigny got his hands, his feet, his hips, everything into the Laffy. Grab, pull, leg, sweep. Here it comes again. Got it all. Every body part got into him. Look at the Leeds FA Cup final 1970 against Chelsea. I'll have to do that, Des. We should write it down because I'll be like, what did Des say? So the CONCACAF Champions Cup the UEFA competition, and Canada just got its second tier of football three seasons ago, and Cavalry FC qualified as that second tier qualifier, and they made their way through, and got a first round draw against Pumas UNAM, which is a storied La Liga team out of Mexico, and they came up and played in the snow in Calgary, and Calgary won. And I'm trying to think of what that's like the equivalent probably of a fourth tier team, a League Two team, playing against a mid-level League One Serie A team and wiping them out. Wow, that's the worst flop I've ever seen. Watch for that one, 33. Brandon, it's going to come up because you're a minute behind. And that was the saddest flop I've ever seen. Rodriguez. He went to go flop sit down, and the defender took a step back, so he just basically sat his ass down in the middle of the pitch.
Chair out.
Dirtiest game ever. See, now I'm all over this one. Scrolling up. Leeds, Chelsea, 1970.
I think you've really come around. When you first were watching this, and then I started joining you, I was all upset about the flops, and you thought it was hilarious just watching me get upset. Now you're in. Now you're bought in on it. You know,
it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you, though. Like to me, it's an expectation of the game, right? It's the same as in hockey. You get cut up in the playoffs with a high stick, and you lose 3 teeth. You run to the back, you get some stitches, and you're expected to be back in 4 minutes later, right? Man, they had a fan. They had an 8-year-old kid who, during a playoff game, took a puck in the stands, and he went to the hospital and came back for overtime. And everybody's like, "That's hockey."
I was knocked out cold, and I got woken up with smelling salts, and then they weren't going to let me back in the game. I went and subbed myself back in. Like, that's the kind of stuff you do. I get it. I'm okay with all that. I'm just not that's where I'm at. The toughness extreme, not the let's fake it all.
And it's instinctive. You probably skated to the bench after being knocked out. Like I got cleared out once playing in provincials midget AA squad, and I was horrible. Let's be honest. But I got cleared out right in the middle of the pitch, or middle of the ice, center of the ice, open ice hit, snot all over the iTech, just completely cleared me out. I was out of it, looped, and I skated to the bench, and I kept on playing. And I remember one goal that went in, and that's about all I remember that game.
I had to take my arm out of a sling. I went to a game, told my parents I was just going to be watching my team and cheering them on, took my arm out of the sling and played one-handed.
Yeah. Yeah, so watching these people, we don't have a lot of sympathy for it. You had to bring someone
zero.
Right some days. Yeah, it does. I get it. It's yeah, yellow cards for simulation, I think, would be a welcome continued and increasing.
Lake Lucko's talking about playing rugby. That's almost another whole level of, physicalness. It's actually pretty clean. I played in New Zealand when I was 15, and I played in the era of Jonah Lamu and Vainga Twigamala, which were big giant wingers, and that's where they put me because I had pace. Keeler Dunn all the way forward. I stepped in front. Was that an offside pass? I was too slight to be able to handle that game. I would always get trucked. It wasn't like I was fearful of it. It's just I couldn't stand up to it.
Yeah, I got destroyed because it was all the idea of putting big wingers out on the outside. And I was out there because I was quick, and I just continued to get smashed. But I would suggest that the game in New Zealand was cleaner than it was in Canada, because when I came and played here, it was mostly people who were in the what's the rehabilitation programs for youth offenders. Played a lot of rugby where I was, and getting in rucks and malls was not a pleasant experience because you were taking cheap shots all over the place. And so it wasn't the most pleasant experience playing rugby. I had to give it up just because I was like, why am I being eye gouged in this all the time? So old time hockey, Eddie Shore. Kim's joined us. This one, 0-0, 23 minutes in. Haven't watched much of it. I'm just going to go through the stats just for those of you that continue to join. 53%, 47%. The XG is 0.00 for Barnsley. This is why I haven't been talking about the game. And 0.08 for Stockport. It's the momentum meter is all blue, but it's not like they're doing anything. It's somebody, Barnsley, red and white, you're here, but your team just didn't show up. You're the only person who's showed up for Barnsley today. It's because it's 52%, 48%, 2 shots on goal, 1 shot on target, and it was a slow kind of right to the breadbasket of Gauchi, who it's his second game for Barnsley, haven't been brought in, 24-year-old. And did I say New Zealand for him? Australia. Joe Gauchi played in Adelaide last year. Can you pull up the league table really quick? I suppose you can do that. I'll do it on my end. Brandon, let me know if you do get it up there.
There.
I don't know exactly what you're looking at, except for the top 3 teams not in action today. So we're really watching Stockport's the one that's got it going on here. Huddersfield's coming up later. We'll be watching that one along with this one. Charlton's going on. There you got Stevenage, W&G keeping his eyes on that one and reporting in through the text. So those are the 2 games that are being watched right now. And Barnsley, I'm waiting for them to do a thing as they draw it forward, and that's going to be O'Keefe over on the right-hand side, draws it forward, 20 yards out, got Keeler done on the left, decides to go other side. It's going to be a throw-in just near the corner flag. Russell, I thought he could have gone towards the center of the pitch, but instead he went over to the right and ended up banging it off of somebody, and away it goes. So I think with this one, the consensus would largely be that we're all Barnsley fans today. I mean, I'd be happy with a draw too, but I think a Barnsley win would probably do me just right. Russell not able to do a thing. He's a big body for a winger. My God. That's another thing. I didn't get to see the game in cross all the way far post. Ooh, just missed over top of Hinchliffe and didn't miss by much. 2 feet away from the front of the goal. So Brendan, a question for you, having watched the entire Port Vale game, how did Mo Fall look?
What about Mo Fall?
How did he look? Eye test. I know he got progressed.
He looked better than he has. That was his best.
He looks like he doesn't appear to have the effort that our other strikers have. Do you know what I mean? Like when I did watch, the part of the frustration for me was there wasn't as much movement, but that goal he scored was well timed, and the pace he went from 0 to 60 in a damn hurry. And I was like, okay, he's got some ability here. But
to defend him a little bit, I thought he looked like I don't know if he was told to or what, but he was playing the Palmer role for the first half of the game, where he had someone attached to his back, and he was in the post-up position. He wasn't looking to run. He was back to the goal, facing our whole team, and they were trying to hit him, and he was trying to not spin on people, but hold this guy up. And I just don't think he has the frame for it. So I think it was a lot on him.
Him playing off of the defenders and trying to create space for himself and find the ball.
When he did get space, that's when he looked, more dynamic, more there's, potential there. I don't think you can cram him into a Palmer role. I don't think that's him. So.
Barnsley, I think I curse your team because Keeler Dunn, I've watched him play neutral matches now 3 or 4 times, and I've seen him play Wrexham 3 or 4 times, and he is always great against Wrexham and always shite in every other match I've seen.
Yeah,
and it's becoming one of my frustrations. More than any other player, Keeler Dunn is so good against Wrexham and so garbage in every other game that I watch. that I just think he only shows up against one team. And I know that's not true, but it's just what I watch as Barnsley pushes it forward. And right now, to be entirely fair, is Hills, number 33, the guy with the headband that's trying to look like a Flint copycat from Mansfield. He's got Keeler Dunn in his pocket. A tint, lad?
Tin lad. I don't even know what that is.
I'm trying to put that in a Yorkshire accent. It. Is that just basically it isn't it? Fall looked like a second bench option with good skill and pace, but without space seems lacking. Yeah, and that's a fair read, and I think what Brendan was getting to. Connell all the way across, going far post, up over top. Don't know if that was a pass. Don't know if that was trying to punch it into the far right corner. Just completely missed it. But Barnsley up over top from Connell on that offering. The captain. He hates Wednesday. So then much love, I suppose, in Barnsley. Playing advantage there. You know what? Hills has looked really good. 7.42. And coming up an 18-yard box. Cross is going to go in. Served up. Headed on. That was Wooten getting up there, but not able to get that on target. Misses by a mile with the header. But Hills has been pushing his way through. He forced it through. About 2-3 guys grabbed Brad Hills and just kept going. He's got the most tackles in the match, and he's won the most duels in the match, and he's responsible defensively for shutting down Keeler Dunn. And right there, he goes on his own run. Yeah, Hooten would like to have that opportunity back. Tough to get from that angle a header on target with any force, but he missed that one and didn't get any call on that. Port Vale goes up in League 2 action over Swindon, them still near the top. I think they're fourth, looking to try and eke their way through. You're not going to get that. That's an Aussie thing for me. Oh, wide open shot. Score! Stockport County out of nothing. Oloafe picks that one up, and that was that Earl that completely stumbled and botched that one? And yeah, it was a nice ball, but it could have been handled and cleared better. And it wasn't. And as a consequence, Oloafe just took it, beat the defender, and then hammered it through the right foot. Nothing that Gauchi could have done. He's 10 yards away, options both either side, and just plops it into the back of the net. I'd like to end up seeing defensively. I think that was one of those ones where you're playing the Maupaw defense by yourself. Should I stay? Should I go? Gauchi hammers it down the right-hand side. It's not taken well by Russell. And then it's just one kick forward. Oh, it was Donovan Pines. Donovan Pines goes over, and he gets wrong-footed, wrong-sided, hits the deck. That was piss poor by Donovan Pines. Doesn't get enough pace to get on the right side of the shoulder, so now he's desperate, and he just has to swing a leg at it and misses the ball. And so Oloafe just collects it and hammers it through. Deandra, how are you, my friend? Yeah, Donovan Pines got to do better than that. It was a glorious pass, a half volley, left footer all the way through, and just well placed. James Carr joke. And here they go again. Oloafe just causing havoc with these big center backs as he's now working on Earl over on the right-hand side. Dragging left, right, draws it back. Norwood, far post, and Donovan Pines not confident again with that right foot. Donovan Pines stuffed that one and put it right onto an attacking foot. Was that Noyle who missed that one? Donovan Pines.
Jeez.
What? Like what? I don't know.
Yeah, even his own teammates are yelling at him now.
Exclamation mark Barnsley. Not Australian. No. And the thing is I lived in New Zealand for for a year back in '93. And so when it comes to another attempted goal by Stockport way over at the top of the net, this is now the field is twisted. And Barnsley's not here. They didn't show up for this one as of yet, as Pye just missed that one. So when it comes to Welsh teams in playing against England and that whole cultural setup of being a smaller country in the UK, I get it. Canada and the US, I get it. Down there, I lived in Australia, or I lived in New Zealand. So the same thing with Australia and the rivalry. I get it. And so I don't have I have a lot of love for Australians individually, but their sports clubs, never on board. Never on board. The Yankees of the South Pacific, dare I say. That's a pen. Penalty. Yikes. Barnsley just looking shocking as Earl just completely clattered into his man in the box over on the right-hand side. And easy.
Oh, I don't know. I think that was a little soft.
He's
Let's see the replay on this.
Oh, okay. I thought he clattered into him with the shoulder, but you know what? Yeah, no, I wouldn't. You're right. Brendan's got that right. I'll take that as a bad call. I thought he clattered into him with the shoulder, but it was just the left foot. So it's a pen for Stockport as Earl on Noyle over on just on the edge of the area, the 18-yard box. And I thought he'd clattered into him with the right shoulder. What it was is arguably a little bit of a touch with the foot, but there was not much into it. Noyle went down easy, and the referee.
The player reached with his right foot, allowing himself to be off balance. So, a breeze would have knocked him over at that point.
2-0. We're just setting the script, Barnsley, for some Wrexham magic. As Barnsley come. The frustrating part is if you're Daryl Clark on this one, what are you doing to make? You've got 10 minutes to get to the half. Are you doing halftime subs? Looking at the bench, you've got you're missing somebody like you're bringing in McCarthy or Gent in the back line. You're missing who you normally have back there, and it's the pace that's crushing them. Even though that was a flop, it was the fact that he was getting around him. It was that quick for Barnsley to use. Yep, the game escalated quickly. Well, I guess it's just a byproduct. If you're not going to show up for the game, and you'd think that they had bus legs and been sitting on the bus for 6 hours, it's just Barnsley's just not into it. Nothing up front. Keeler Dunn completely being owned by Brad Hills. But yeah, I'm sitting there looking like I was saying the same thing, Dave, like pre-half subs. Do you do that? I just think you use the halftime window and you cross your fingers and pucker your butt that you don't end up taking another one. Sack the board. Hinchcliffe. Donovan Pines heads it the other way, but it's pumped back in by Stockport and Gauchi. And none of these on the new keeper Gauchi's fault. This is Donovan Pines with one shocking entry and then a pen given that shouldn't have, even though my first shot was that it should have. 7 shots to 0. Lots of people, their version of Rodriguez, new signing. I guess there's controversy in Barnsley that he's been doing nothing. And the broadcasters are getting on board. The Stockport announcers, anyway. I'm curious to see if you pick anything up on your broadcast there, Brendan, who's listening to the Barnsley one. 2-0, 37th minute. Daryl Clark out now. It's interesting to me with Barnsley, not really any moves other than Rodriguez, but you look at what was done around them. I mean, Wickham loaded up with a whole new starting 11. None of them really exceptional signings. Is Oloafe just beating Donovan Pines again? Gauchi has to come over and just clear it and get it away from everybody. Daryl Clark's strategy always has been, I like big bodies in the back. And that works unless you're up against a team that's comfortable running with the ball. And right now they're just getting smashed into. And it's...
Does he also like big butts and he cannot lie?
those other teams can't deny. But when a team walks in with a little bit of pace, they'll stuff it in your face and get sprung. Yeah, that happened.
I knew when you were vulnerable on very little hours of sleep that I could get you with a Sir Mix-a-Lot song.
I'm there for it. And it's funny, I was listening to 90s hits all day yesterday. Chemical Brothers, a group that I'd forgotten all about. Wow. First attempted goal. They're still waiting on it. They've gone an entire half, 39 minutes with no attempts on goal. Earl, ball is sitting directly on the halfway line. Draws it in and easily headed away by guess who? Brad Hills. And then O'Keefe lofts it over. Keeler Dunn going to go and chase it down, and it's going to get headed down. And hey, they got a throw in from 8 yards away, so maybe they'll get something there. Port Vale, 2-1 up on Swindon. Thrown in. 9 yards out. Earl dancing, crosses over. Connor tries to get it there. Nobody there. Stepped in front of it, and Wakali just gets it across, and nothing really there.
Wait a minute. I didn't know Matt was doing a watch along too.
Oh, is he? Which game's he doing? This one?
No, this one.
Oh. I didn't even check his, to be fair. I checked Local Pundit. Didn't see that he had any going. Torrey, left-hand side, Stockport County doing its thing. You think Bradford City's coming up, Barnsley? I was just making fun that they were of them before we started. That they're doing stuff in the cup, which they tend to do all right in the cup. I mean, they beat us out, knocked us out of cup competition last year, EFL Cup, I believe, first round. But they seem perpetually cursed to just live in League Two and just be that massive club that can never get out. The Chickens. 41 minutes. No attempts on goal for Barnsley as of yet. The stats, the XG went from 0.08 to 1.71 in the stretch of about 7 minutes. 7 shots. They were down at 2 with nothing on with 1 on target. They're now at 7 total shots, 3 on target, 2 big chances, both of them scoring. Passes, nothing much in it. Fouls committed, more from Barnsley. And just everything's blue. Total shots, shots off target, shots on target, time in opposition half, accurate crosses, touches in the opposition box are 10-1.
So I never played football at a high enough level to know what's, ultimately very difficult and what's very easy. And I keep getting amazed at people missing these sitters on open nets really close.
Yes.
Blasting them over the net, not even close. So obviously I have a misjudgment here, but so many times I see these first touches so hard, and especially when they're not under pressure and they're not moving and the ball comes into them and they can't control it at their feet. And then the thing is then you see the Premier League players just warming up and people are blasting it at them, and it's just immediately stopping at their foot without movement. And you're like, oh, so that's easy to do, right? Like they make it look so easy. It makes me criticize everyone else who can't do it.
I guess if everybody could do it, they'd be making millions of quid playing at the top level, right?
They just make it look so easy. I'm thinking, no, that can't be hard.
It's like me and stick handling. I can't. I'll just carry the puck, thanks. Man. Barnsley, just when they have opportunities over on the wings, both sides, they're not even getting crosses over. As Keeler Dunn now over on the right-hand side tries to knock it back, and he gets it over there. O'Keefe grabs it and just throws it back. And it's immediately off of a Stockport foot, and they're going to just steal it back. Giveaway, handball. He's saying, no, that was my shoulder. You think Wickham's staying up, do you, Barnsley? We could talk about Wickham's window. I mean, what a crazy window that was. How many players did Wickham add? But nobody really of like supreme higher quality. They just loaded up a whole bunch of depth. If they could play 22 players, they'd probably have the best team in League One. There's a misplay there. And then a corner to Stockport. Jesus. Swung and whiffed on a volley clear. O'Keefe they off the top of his boot rolls behind, and it's a free corner. Trying to give this one away. Stockport fans are going in to grab their pie early. Oh, it's right there too. The ball in the middle of the box, but they just have to put it back to it. Left footer just misses over to the right-hand side. Stockport County is a threat because Barnsley keeps giving them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. So coordinated. W&G watching that one. Charlton goes up 1-0 on Stevenage. And so that pushes them up into 6th on 29 matches played, 45 points if it sits there like that. And Stevenage sitting down below Barnsley in 11th. 3 in a row they've won. Trying to crawl their way back into contention here. That would be suffered a massive setback to lose to the likes of Charlton. There's another, and just how many Oluwafe getting around Pines again? Just too much pace. Too much pace. Long searching ball, nothing there. Rodriguez not able to collect. Clement Rodriguez, French striker on loan to the end of the season. Well, that's my thing, Dave, is they signed everybody. And if they had if there was an edict and an order that for a game you had to play your second starting 11, your 12th to 22nd best players, Wickham would probably be really, really good. But
Wrexham has like
Wrexham, Birmingham
5
City,
players at every position.
Yeah. But I think Wickham's loaded up in that regard and got themselves a lot of depth. But I don't think they really added. 2 minutes about of time as we get this one closer to the half. And one team showed up for this one. And what is it, an hour and 15 from Barnsley to Stockport? No, it'd be more than that. Oh, an hour 9. Not bad. My UK geography getting better and better. An hour 9 to get from Barnsley to Stockport. You would think that Barnsley sat on their butts for 6 months and they just couldn't get the legs going. That was an atrocious first half from them. I'd hate to see what Barnsley Twitter says about it. Brendan, what's your take on that one?
Someone's got to speak with Barnsley's defense. I mean, it kind of seems pretty straightforward to me. You have to stop playing such a high line. You got to have at least one person able to get back. You can't keep getting beat the same way. It's a short pass from the midfielders to one of the strikers for Stockport, who has just a ridiculous amount of space to run between defenders there and get an easy line. You need to have someone further back. The whole line has to be a little bit further back, or at least the center part of that has to be deeper. Because right now they can't cover anything. They can't get anywhere. They're just getting easily blown by.
Too much pace. And WNG, I know that Stockport is close to Manchester. Hell, it is Manchester. Let's just be fair. I keep joking about it all every time I get a chance to talk about Stockport, and I'll never call them Stockport County either, just because it bothers everybody. So this is going to be one of those ones where if Barnsley doesn't pick it up, we're just wasting time having a conversation with everybody, which I don't mind. Hi, nice to have everybody here. And I haven't made the pitch, and I guess I could do that as well. If you're looking for your pins and all that sort of stuff, there's the example. Our sponsors, Ultimate Promotions, ultipromo.com, ultimatepromotions.biz. They do your pins, your badges, your medals. If you're looking for competitions, race, or your kids have a football club, you want something, and they got a tournament, you're giving away medals. Free artwork, free design, set all that stuff up. Reach out to them, Ultimate Promotions, ultipromo.com. Oh, man, what do we talk about? We've kind of covered the women. We've talked about, if you're joining us late, the Virtu Trophy. We know who we're going to get if we're able to beat Bolton on Tuesday. I'm curious what everybody else, and I could put that up as a poll. We've wanted the Barnsley win. Everybody's got that one there, so we'll end the poll. And I want to bring up the poll about the Bolton game because Brendan and I had a disagreement. Is the Bolton game a banana peel? Or not? And then I'm going to say yes, but we win anyway. Yes, and I don't feel good about it. Or no, nothing to worry about. I'm curious what everybody says on that one. I tend to think that it's a banana peel. Brendan, before the game, said no, he's confident, nothing to worry about. I predicted that we're going to lose on pens, and I hope that we're wrong. I don't like putting things in the universe because then if it happens, I end up getting smashed for it. WG just identified Charlton's XG is 1.09 to Stevenage's 0.04. So that's two clubs that just decided not to show up on a Saturday morning. And said, we're going to take game 31 off and we'll worry about the rest of them. That one's in Charlton too, right? Yeah, it is. So Stevenage traveling to Charlton, not getting it done. So I'm curious what people say there. We talked about the cop. We talked about, and if you haven't seen Fid's 200th episode is out there. I haven't seen it yet. It's something I want to get to, but I want to do when I can sit down for it. And actually start to digest it. 0.00 for Barnsley. Are we going to bring up the stats? Do you want to bring the stats up so people can have a look?
Yeah, I had them up. I took them off.
Yeah, 0.00. They had one touch in the box. That's it. Like it's as bad as it can get for a team not showing up. Like nothing. No shots on target. They had one touch in the box. I can't even remember which one that was. They had one sort of the closest play that they had to going into the net was an offering from their captain, Connell, and I don't even know what you would say Connell did on that one. I thought it was a pass or a cross to start off with, and it just completely sort of missed everything. It's everything to Keeler Dunn, who's sitting at 5.9 on FOTMob. Is he the lowest? See, well, other than Gauchi, which 5.7, and how do you criticize Gauchi at a 5.7? You've got a shot from Olawafe that's like from 9 yards away from goal after he's beaten Pines, and Pines has given up the ball right in the box, and then he had a pen. Like, anyway, FOTMob not a fan of Gauchi. He's at 5.7, but as far as the 10 that are playing away from goal, Keeler Dunn at a 5.9 is the lowest for either team. And it follows the continuing trend of Killer Dunn. Just, if I was a Barnsley fan, I would ban me from ever watching Barnsley because he's absolute garbage until he plays Wrexham, and then he's a world beater and can't be stopped. Man, they just showed that. I mean, the only thing that Gauchi could have done is potentially read that Pines had blown the coverage and got out a little bit further and maybe even played the ball. He was coming out and then had to stop. Good vision, though. Who was that? Bate, who got that one out to him? The left footer. And he didn't even get an assist for that? Looked up, saw Oluwafe out there and just funneled it over to him, and calm as easy as pushes that one through. Wow. I don't even know. My brain is just not firing, Brendan. What do we talk about? The Cop, we talk about Bolton, we talk about
there's an easy one. There's I haven't got your feedback on what do we do with Longman? I mean, the Longman-Barney situation.
Oh, God. We created ourselves a problem, didn't we? Because he played relatively well. And he seems... His cross is... my take on it is the early verdict and what came over from him from the whole City fans was he can't cross the street. Forget about crossing a football. And that's not...
Yeah, but they were playing him out of position.
Well, they were playing him left. The rumor was that he likes to play on the left-hand side and cut back.
But you can't possibly cross with your... You can't be known as someone who's a great crosser playing with your weak foot.
I get it. So what do we do with him? Can you put him in the midfield? Because you've got to have Barney on, right? You can't... Barney's your penciled-in starter. It's not Longman, even if he plays exceptional. You've got to sit with him. So, can you put him into the midfield, and can he be serviceable?
Well, John Lane's suggesting that you put him in for McLean and put him back to what
he was
doing. But they got rid of him because he was playing that position, right? And
not doing well. I mean, he hasn't gone through the eye test. I mean, it could be that just at the championship level, it's not there. And McLean's going to be out due to cards anyway, which is true. But then is Revan not the better option at that position? I don't know. I think it's worth giving it the eye test at the League One and see whether he can handle it. But you are putting, square peg, round hole sort of in the circumstance.
Revan did look better, by the way, when he got some time.
Which is good. You know what? He's a coin flip when he comes in. He either looks really, really good or he just completely disappears. And it's fascinating to watch.
Well,
I can't criticize
him up because he didn't look good the last few times, but this one he did. So
he did. Yeah. Good. Do you take off a Cannon or a Rathbone or a Dobson over on that right-hand side of the midfield three? I don't think Longman sits in the back. He's got to be up in at the front. And if he's going to be up in the front because of his preferred foot, you want him on the right-hand side. So it would have to be not that Lee sort of earmark position on the left. It'd be the Cannon / sometimes Dobson / sometimes Rathbone over on that right-hand side.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is you've got...
Lee just went and scored 2 goals, right? Right
Longman
when you're thinking you could slide him in for Lee, and all of a sudden Lee finds the back of the net again.
John saying here, Revan for Longman, not close. As a footballer in current status, who's the better player? And you're saying you're going 1v1, who you taking? I'm taking Longman over Revan every day. But when you're talking about positionally and where you're putting them, this is where it becomes a question. Is Revan, I want him down that left side because that's his preferred foot, his preferred side, and it makes sense. Putting Longman over there, I think, is a step back and not what you want. And so now you've got this battle of what do you do with Longman, which I guess is a nice problem to have. Depth is always a good thing. Somebody gets injured. If Barney was to go out, we'd be screaming, "Oh my God, what do we do?" I don't think that's the case now. I mean, if Barney, knock on wood, went down with an injury, we're looking at Bolton. And I guess the other thing is we've got 21 players. Do we think we're bringing in somebody on a free?
Where are we putting them? Like, I you have to start looking at what position do you feel like you need to upgrade.
Well, attacking midfielder.
So that's Lee's position, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is so I went to the free agents over on Transfer Market to see what's there. And I, there's some interesting options of long-standing midfielders who, and we want an attacking mid, right? That you'd be interested to probably go and get. Raposo comes to mind again when I look at him, but there's Rafinha, 31-year-old Brazilian, 3 million market value. Do you bring in Rafinha and throw him in? I don't know who you get there.
Well, one of the things I don't think you said, right, which is Barney looks like he could be an attacking midfielder to me.
Yeah.
He seems pretty good with his off foot going either direction. He has no problem having guys up on him in double teams. I mean, I understand it's a totally different position, and, he's kind of earned it. It's hard to knock him out of there, right? What's the guy done wrong? Maybe he's had 2 games where he wasn't awesome, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if Longman, how good he'd look as an attacking midfielder. He's a little bigger of a guy. He doesn't seem to be outrunning people, right? Like, box to box a whole game. I don't know. Seems like you got to keep those guys on the pitch.
What's the most cherished asset that you have from Barney? I mean, yes, he can score, and he's proven that. I mean, recently, his first goal was that bouncer off of his schnoz last season, and then he got one following game, right?
Yeah, he had almost a game of the season. It's already, right? That blast, that hook, the ball was a meter off the pitch. He lifted his leg up, turned sideways, and hooked it around.
Yeah. So I just, because of his ability to cross and his strength at it and how good he is at finding space when there's no space there, I see that as being winger type activity. I just don't see him being the option. But I guess it's one of those things that we were talking about.
Right now, limited view, Barney's better at that position than Longman. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So then the question becomes, has Longman shown you enough to earn time somewhere else? See, I think McLean is
so you've got a game against Bolton coming up, and it's a cup match, and yes, it matters. But what would be the problem with playing Longman as part of on that right side of your midfield? Him and Barney over there dancing around together on that right side.
So the Cannon position, which is the Rathbone position,
and sometimes the Dobson position. It's been the turnover position of the top 3. They're on the pitch here for this one.
But then who's the next? If if you're going down the lineup and going guys that have played awesome this year, right, and you need a ton of praise, and let's just say you start with Barney, which is fair. Isn't Rathbone 2 or 3?
Yeah, So what do you do? Do you pull Rathbone and Dobson out for the and Cannon out for the Bolton game, and you give them the opportunity to run and just see what you've got and see if that answers our questions? Because right now I don't have an answer. I have a maybe it could work. As Stockport County right off the hop coming out, I should say we're underway. 45 minutes and 34 seconds is where I'm at, and Stockport pushes their way down their left-hand side of the quarter box, and they just milk it both forward and pass across, knocked away. And I'll have to check the subs to see if any came in here. Right-hand side. Well, are they going to get a touch in the box? No, because he's just going to completely botch that one. 22. That was a sub. So Neil Ferrugia is the only sub for Barnsley, and he's on the right-hand side, and he just muffed that opportunity coming in and gave it away. And there's a pass not to Keeler done as O'Keefe not enough on it, and it's just going to be another throw-in. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that one of figuring out? Yeah, John's just identifying not the worst problem to have. What's your thoughts of letting Barnett run in his normal position and have Longman on that spot in the midfield? Put whoever you want on the left. I guess it would be Lee or otherwise.
Yeah,
nice
I mean,
I
just don't want to take Rathbone off the field either. I'd rather take Lee off the field than Rathbone right now. He's too consistent in comparison to Lee, who's hard or cold to me.
A battle for the FA Cup. Leyton Orient was up 1-0, but Man City able to score and get back into that one. Man City and Leyton Orient. Even at 1-1. Gotta love the magic of the FA Cup as Donovan Pines let that one go past him, and Dejevigny goes and collects it. And Dejevigny, Barnsley, I'd like to, if he's still on and hasn't left, I'd like his take on this. It seems to be more mobile than Donovan Pines and more confident as a center back. I don't know why he's the guy that's not in the middle of the pitch. Earl, I've always been a little bit suspect about, but Barnsley, a nice little play, and there's the switches on over to O'Keefe, and away they go forward. John says, don't touch Rathbone. So there you go. You've got some support there that Rathbone has to stay on, and it's Lee that has to come out. But I look at the free agents for attacking midfielders, and I just don't see anybody. Rafina would be the big one, 31 years of age. And I don't think he's played.
You need to get someone super dynamic or don't bother.
And that's just it. Like, I will say, like, I really like Ryan Raposo. 25 years of age. Plays on the left-hand side. He's probably the same height, and he's probably a younger version of Elliot Lee. But is that enough? I don't know. Highest market value, 1.5. What's Elliot Lee's? I'm just on transfer market. Elliot Lee, 700,000. I don't know. Just it's. I don't know if there's enough there for me to say bring him over and that he's going to get his minutes. And if I'm Raposo, I'm probably not doing it because I've got something, or I had something comfortable. I don't know why he's a free agent. He's a Vancouver stalwart. But I think he fits in nicely with the club, to be fair, as far as style goes. He's the closest Elliot Lee comparable that I can find, but he's probably too much of a comparable. So somebody watch highlights of Ryan Raposo. I'm sure they've got to be out there and come back to me and tell me what you think of them. Ryan Raposo highlights. I'll see if I can find one. Hey, Jason, how are you, my friend? I was just saying, Jason, we got to talk about, you're going to have to plan that trip that you're taking out there about when the EFL Cup final or the EFL Trophy final is going to be, just in case we end up with Wrexham being there. You get a chance to go to Wembley. How crazy would that one be? Yeah, it's all individual highlights. I haven't seen anybody put in a package together for them. No Ryan Raposo highlight package. We didn't see him in that game. Man City scored, so does that mean it's 2-0 or 2-1? Sorry, Watford going up on Sunderland in the championship. We're hoping that the new strikers and Merritt are working hard in this break because I like getting 4 goals in the game again. That was the frustrating part for me, not being able to watch that one and then seeing 4 goals go in and being like, they took control of a game and handled that one easy. Well, not easy the first half of the goal 1 minute in, 20 seconds in. But after that, it seemed like they had it under control and they just worked their way through. And I was jealous and envious of Brendan being able to have a sort of an easy one to watch as far as heart attacks being seen live on camera.
Yeah.
There's Jason. I know Al's already trying to convince me it would be insane. I think you got to do it, man. The opportunity to do that. If I had a chance to just sneak one around and see, the challenge for me is going to be, I mean, the first window for the international break is the first week of March. And so I don't want cancellations while I'm heading over there, but we'll be figuring that out Monday, Tuesday, and I suspect buying the tickets after that. We've got new suitcases for the boys for travel, and away we go. Oh, here's an opportunity. Stockport, back heel from Hooten, and it's going to come all the way over to Toure on the left-hand side. Cross, Stockport into the box, headed away. That's Earl, but it's still in the area, and Rodriguez all the way back. He's just going to thump that forward for Keeler Dunn, but it goes too far. I think that's the best part about the fun on that, John Lane, is being able to see that there's quality there. I mean, they don't play a lot together other than on the training pitch. For some of them, they haven't had minutes in eons. And once they bang the let out, they seem to be able to put it all together. And it's kind of exciting that for a lot of them, they're going to be right back into it on Tuesday. I think that more starters will get into that one because we're not playing today, and so they've got some time off. So as far as load management goes, and it was really nice to see George Evans out as well. I remember last year before he got injured, he was probably my MVP for the season. Flag up, goes offside. I couldn't tell. It looked close, but I couldn't really tell where the line was from that camera angle. O'Keefe back underway, draws it back. De Gevigné through the deck, and a horrible touch there. That's the substitute that just came in. The only change, Ferrugia couldn't handle that, and it goes back. Anyone have recommendation for train versus taxi? I always thought it was train first, unless urgent. And the joy of the UK train system, it's easy as to get around. I've never had any problems. Opportunity, Stockport. Nice little play forward. It's going to be cross in. Earl got that one. Does you have any? Earl got that one. It's going to be another one. Right-hand side. Nice. Oh, right to the center of the box, but cleared away there. I'm trying to get the names here and what's going on. O'Keefe was all the way over. Basically playing on the back line to get that one. And Keeler Dunn has it. He's got to deal with Brad Hills. And he danced around him. There you go. Keeler Dunn finally does a thing and beats Hills, gets it into the area. Cross just misses to the right-hand side. The first time that Keeler Dunn got the best of Hills. And he beat him and got it right to the edge of the area, 18-yard right footer, and he missed by about 2 feet to the right-hand side. I would get them now. That's my experience. I mean, I've only traveled as a tourist in the UK, but whether it was up to Edinburgh, off to Manchester, or heading up from London or down, I always found that it was always cheaper to get them early. And Kim probably has the line. If not, sign up to Discord and somebody should be able to get it to you. And we didn't go through the Adam stuff, or Andy stuff, the graphic, or I didn't. So we'll have to bring that one up for the next match.
I think Keeler Dunn should have been able to bend that one in.
Yeah, I kind of expected that to be a goal. I was sort of disappointed because I think that's in his repertoire.
He had plenty of room to do it. The defender was far enough off, I
think it was just probably shell shock that he got around Hills and had that much space. A reminder of his ability, says the Stockport announcer. Phillips, right footer, right in the hands of Hinchliffe, and he didn't handle that one well, shot it up, and then had to recollect it. And W&G identifying that Stevenage is really struggling. Man City have 2 goals, one for them and one for Leyton Orient. Well, good for them for sharing. Not the most confident handle by Hinchliffe, but is that the first shot on target? 2 shots on goal and the first shot on target, 56 minutes in.
If he didn't blast it right at him, he put a decent move on the ball.
He did. Foul there by Hooten.
Yeah,
Is he the most overrated player in League One? Kyle Hooten. Go to his FB ref for Stockport and have a look. He's never looked good in any of the games. Like, it's not like Keeler Dunn where he hits or misses or 7 goals, 6 assists. So maybe I should eat my words a little bit. 28 years of age, and he's played 2,300 minutes so far this season. I just never see him do anything. WG says you'd have to get a train from Manchester to Chester and then from Chester to Wrexham.
Hey, what about in between
Stop at the
games
Tim Hortons there.
or at halftime? I do the Stoke commercial. We get dinged.
Oh,
on
yeah. I don't know if I'd get dinged on that. I don't really care. I'm not here for the monetization on a neutral game. We can run it on the next one. We'll see what happens. We'll just have to talk over top of it.
Well, I could mute it, and then we could stop and just like a Where's Waldo, where we just keep pausing and looking at the chaos in the background.
I don't know how I'd see that live though, because I'm on a delay, right?
Oh yeah.
I get the latency. You could. I think the highlight for me of that whole thing is, and I don't know how they decided to do that, but the Fletcher Elliott Lee airplane.
Yeah.
What is that? And
I'm not sure what you call that.
They're done with it. Opportunity, 20 yards out, right footed, straight into the breadbasket of Hinchliffe. And did he take that into lower than the breadbasket? He might have taken that lower than the breadbasket. We'll catch that on the replay. Did he take that into the berries? No, it was into the gut.
No. It's just a big actor.
Yeah. Yeah, we lose twice to Stevenage. Hey, everybody picks it up for Wrexham. Here's Wooten, who's going to shut me up and do a thing. Holds it up actually relatively nicely and gets it forward and stabbed and nothing there, and it's going to roll and get easily collected by Gauchi. Now, everybody was saying Super Bowl commercial. I didn't get the U.S. Super Bowl commercials because we get the Canadian version of them, which sucks. But when I watched to try and catch the Super Bowl commercials, it wasn't one that played. So I assume that it hits just on some sort of regional channel or maybe online thing and not the full Super Bowl coverage. Do you know, Brendan, as to how that commercial gets seen during the Super Bowl or anybody else?
Are they gonna run the Stoke one? Definitely.
Well, they said the same thing last year. I've heard people say it was a Super Bowl ad, and I saw the same thing last year when Hopkins did the Rex Roar thing, and thought that was going to be a Super Bowl commercial. There it is! Oh, great save by Hinchliffe. That was an amazing cross and an opportunity there, as that was right on the head of Russell, and he couldn't beat Hinchliffe, who had that covered on the back post. Great cross. Keeler Dunn serves it up about 5 yards away from goal, draws it back, and it's headed and just right straight down by was that Russell or Rodriguez?
So you have noticed that they've switched Keeler Dunn side to side now.
Well, he moves around enough that you can never you'll see him now. He's over on the left side again. I mean, he floats a lot more than most.
This is pretty significant. He was as wide left in the first half as you can get. Now he just crossed that from as wide right as you can get.
Yeah. Did they give that as a corner or a goal kick? Goal kick. I thought the way everybody was moving that it could have been a corner, but no, that was the right call, being the goal kick. Is so much goal available there for Russell, and he just heads it right down to where Hinchliffe is, but well done by him to get across the face of goal to be there for that one. There it is, train line. That's the same one that I got before. I should write that one down. The big question for me is, am I going to be there for Rotherham's probably the certain game that I'll be in Wrexham for, it's sounding like. The question is can I sneak Bolton in at the front, or do I get Stockport at the back end of it? We'll hopefully I will know by potentially Tuesday during the Bolton game. If not, I'm sure by the end of the week, next week, I'll be making my announcement of when I will be heading over. And the joy is they've got one game in Huddersfield, which is relatively close to Donny, so that certainly being away. The only downside is the later games down south that will be harder to get to. Because I do have to spend time with the in-laws and the family. It can't all just be a Wrexham trip. Be there for 3 weeks. We'll see what we can do. I might do one game from the comforts of the home and on a laptop in in Donny. We'll see how that goes. Barnsley at least has shown up for this half. Now, whether they can eke one back and turn this into a game is yet to be determined, as they are pushing back, which is something to see. See, and Dave says the Stoke ad will play during the Super Bowl, but I thought that the video that they did last year was supposed to play in the Super Bowl, and it didn't. And it didn't make the here's the best of the Super Bowl ads, because it was like a secondary viewing. And I'm trying to figure out why that is or how that is. Because, I mean, I'd be shocked if Stoke has money, but to pay for a Super Bowl ad, like, God, that's expensive. But I mean, if you're stepping up to have Channing Tatum do it and have all the players there, why not? I guess. So somebody'd have to tell me what happened to the Hopkins ad last year. Is opportunity for Stockport coming through. Couldn't bully his way in, and he tried to put it forward to Hooten or Oloafe. Nothing there, and it's going to be cleared away. And Connell's got it. Earl trying to advance it forward and just gets his pocket picked. Oh, and then committed a foul. Subs, 63rd minute. Oh boy, I should have got coffee before I. Wakali comes out. Lembekisa coming in, so that's Lembekisa's more attacking, says the Stockport announcers. A holding midfielder and comes off, and a winger comes forward. And here we go. We've got Connell's going to stand over the ball. It's 35 yards away, looking for a left-footed cross from the left-hand side. Confirmed ad will be on the NFL app also. Good. Connell comes out and tracks it down 32 yards, tried to dance around his man, couldn't do it, and Stockport's going to come out back on the counter attack. Oloafe has it. Right footer, nothing on it. It just skips to Gauchi and easily collected. And now we've got action going back and forth. Barnsley now down the left line. They're going to hold up, slow it down, and bring it back to Earl. Earl through the middle. Connell over to Phillips. Phillips back to Connell, halfway line. He's dancing across right-hand side. Lembekisa. Connell moving forward. 25 yards out. Phillips now. He's going to look to cross. No, he's not. He's going to serve it forward too far, too heavy, and it's just going to go for a goal kick. Wasted. They're sniffing around anyway. Sniffing around. Just smells like crap still. What are we cooking?
Oh, I didn't know if you'd hear that. Heating up some chicken and rice soup. I figured if I ate now while you were on camera, I'd be able to hold it down in between. And
there you go.
And
that works, because I'm definitely running down for coffee as soon as this is over. Lembekisa Can't get it forward. Scrambled play in the middle of the pitch. Oh, bumped forward again. Barnsley trying to get it forward. The cross headed away. Connell collects. Keeler Dunn has Brad Hills out on him. Pushes him away. Keeler Dunn looking for it. Gets it to Connell. Stabs it 25 yards. Moves it over to Phillips. Right footer. Switches on all the way over to Lempakisa. Dancing. Can he get the cross? Bangs it off of a shin. And collected away and just pumped up Wooten. Now chasing it down. Phillips. Lempakisa. Bad pass. But he collects it. Oh. Hit the body of Toure, came back to him, and the bad side was when it hit his body, Phillips gave up on the run, so when Lempakisa got it back and tried to advance it on, Phillips was standing still and couldn't get there. Swindon, 3-2. Goals galore in Swindon as they've come back. They were down, I think it was 2-1. I think it was 1, remind me, but I think it went 1-0, and then 1-1, then 2-1, and now Swindon scoring 2 in a row. I have a contact that says Stoke paid $7.3 million for the ad spot on both TV stream and the NFL app. Interesting. Well, for whoever watches it, the Super Bowl in the US, keep an eye out and let me know when it runs, because I won't get that here. I get the Canadian version. Until we become the 51st state, I have to deal with the difference in the Super Bowl ads. Barnsley carrying the balance of play. Stockport looking to get another clear, and they advance it on there. Norwood thumps it down. Pine trying to collect in his pace, able to hold him off. Benoni Anderson? Did he come in for Olawafe? It's possible. Not intentional. And I don't think anybody can really stare at that and catch it. You'll have to tell me, W&G, if you can actually make out the game there.
Yeah, when I finally get over there and get some picks, I'm going to have to blow one up outside the stadium.
For sure. Cross, headed straight up in the air. That was well done because on the other side was Russell sitting there looking for that one. Pines knocks it down. Sometimes Pines can just look clumsy. Man City, there it is. My head's in the way now because I'm not paying attention. 5 shots, 3 on target. All this would be in the second half because there wasn't anything early. So Barnsley has certainly come out in this one. They've got possession 53%, but here comes Stockport County into the area with an opportunity. Connell's able to come and knock that down, and he's laying on the ground, suffering after that flop. Oh, still 6 o'clock in the morning. Long ball down, just going to let it roll out. Oh, well done to keep that in. Keeler Dunn's going to get an opportunity. He's got nobody up there with him, though, dancing around the goal line. And Brad Hills, wow, clinical. Like, how long is Brad Hill's contract? That's what I'm starting to wonder. De Gevigny. And then Bakisa, right side, looking to cross. Got 2 men on him, draws it back. Not the best pass to Jevany, has to go and get it. Enters it back into the box. Dancing, can't get there. Phillips has to turn around. It's going to go for a corner over on the right-hand side. Norwood knocks it out, and away we go. Right-footed outswinger delivered, far post. Pines, cool. Going to go for a corner, as that was sort of a desperation stab header to get that away from Donovan Pines, who was running for it at the far post. This is where Barnsley's dangerous, right? Is these corners, because they just advance DeGevigny, Pines, Earl all forward, and they got 3 big, huge targets to go after it. You don't want to be giving corners to these guys. Right-footed in-swinger from the left side. Headed! Oh, God. Russell. Like, how do you... He had space. He had time. He was the only guy whose head that could have hit, and he just puts it directly straight forward and right into the waiting arms of Hinchliffe. Like, that's the easiest save you're going to take from a dangerous header 6 yards away from goal. Just nothing. That's got to be disappointing if you're a Barnsley fan. 72 minutes. Dave, I've had so many people tell me where to buy a Wrexham lager, and the stores that are always recommended to me, I can't find one in Bellingham. Here's the other reality is I'm not going down to the U.S. to buy anything while the tariff talk's still going on.
I'll have some for Tuesday. I'll put it on screen.
Well, thanks. That makes me feel so much better. Still waiting for Canada to get that one figured out.
Hey, at least I'm a true fan. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry, not going into... For whatever reason, and this is what my bugaboo is, for whatever reason, the outdoor sheds that are made, the plastic ones, are disproportionately cheaper in the U.S. than they are in Canada. Like 75% cheaper than they are in Canada. I don't know why. And so I know that I can go down to Home Depot in the U.S. and buy it for probably $200 cheaper than I'm going to get in Canada. And that's after conversion and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy it yet because I was like, I'll just go down on another day. No real rush. And now I'm in boycott U.S. product mode. And I can't go down and get the damn thing. And I'm just going to...
Well, why don't you just order something from Amazon? They can ship that to you. The
American company. We've stopped with Amazon. I now go shopping in stores only. Walmart, don't shop at Walmart. It's all on... We're on lockdown here, man.
I thought it wasn't
Doesn't matter. The
suspended.
Doesn't, even though it's suspended, the Canadians have said piss off, and most of them are still not buying U.S. product. So one province, I think it's New Brunswick, is still maintaining the ban on U.S. liquors. The other ones have allowed them to go back in, but most consumers that I speak to are doing their best to switch from U.S. products to Canadian products, and I'm shopping now at Canadian-owned stores, and I haven't been in groceries, like in grocery stores and dollar stores and wherever I've had to go shopping in real life as much as I have in the last week. It's kind of novel. I would love the Welsh product, and I'm probably going to try and bring some back anyway. Pay the duty and get it over. That's what I should do. Is also then I can do the taste test. Maybe the tariff thing will be over. I'll go down and buy a U.S. made Wrexham lager, a Canadian made Wrexham lager, and a Welsh made Wrexham lager. Get somebody to send over an Australian one and do the 4-beer test before an afternoon game. There you go. I'll start drinking them at 10 o'clock. Get 4 into me, and then do a watch along. Jason's looking to load up. Let me know how the tariff duty process worked for you, getting those into the country when you bring them over.
Oh, yeah. Go check to see if my Wrexham lager is $80.
Sorry, it's $80?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I've been paying VAT for years, and now peeps have problems with U.S. tariffs. We don't have to pay the VAT. I mean, I guess if we're over there, yes, but Barnsley with 2 opportunities in the box, but no magic, and then finally get an opportunity to put a right footer in it and miss it 8 yards to the left-hand side as Phillips just pumped that opportunity wide, nothing really in it. Right-footed half volley, and then a player drawn down. That was more of a foul, to be completely fair. When you see that one, that was more of a foul than the pen that was given earlier. Was it not?
Let me see.
Had his right and his left arms wrapped right around him. Kemp out, Edwards in, Stevenage match.
I don't know that.
It's called putting them in my luggage and not declaring it. Always an option. Unfortunately, I can't do things like that. Pines trying to carry it forward and do an EOC, just smashing his way forward through a fullback and takes out a player while he's at it. Right footer over to Phillips, switches on down the side. Lembekisa with Keeler done over on the right-hand side. Keeps it in, chips it around. Defender has an opportunity for a cross to go in on the deck. Punched away, and Lembekisa grabs it again. Up in the air this time. Far post. Oh, shot. Keeler done! Oh, it's blocked! Was that Hills with the... that was all the way over and had that block? That man's everywhere. Oh, you're not allowed to jinx it. Mention in the clean sheet again, not looking for his 150th. If Hooton tries to advance it down and is collected by Jevigny. Barnsley still pushing here, trying to draw back into it as Stockport's parked the bus. And here they go with a clear, and it's all the way forward. Stockport, a little bit of relief. A little bit of relief. Lembekisa plays it lazy, and Stockport's got a run in 18-yard box, dancing along the line, gets it across, drawn back heel. Well done. Can they get it across? And Lembekisa is able to save himself after that giveaway. Gillespie down and injured with the medics taking care of him. I hope it's not serious. And it's number 4. It was Bate. It was Bate who had the block.
Gillespie.
Brad Hills. Oh, that's the young guy. This is why I haven't seen him before and didn't know where he came from. This is Brad Hills, who's the loan from Norwich City. He did play with Accrington Stanley last year, but this is his first match in League One on loan from Norwich City. 20 years of age, a defender who's been playing this one largely sort of on the right-hand side of their 3-4-1-2. So he's not on their back line, but he's in there in support. And he's looked really damn good. 7.8 on FOTMOB. Is that the highest on both sides? It is. He's the highest. Oloafe, who has a goal, is 7.8, and Norwood's at 8.5. So he's up there. And he's passing the eye test in any event. Stockport County throw in, 18-yard box, drawn back. Barnsley collects it. Phillips, Lembekisa punches it forward, and Barnsley trying to get it away from the area, and just switch clearance to the far left side from deep, and Earl just got his pocket picked. Anderson advancing it forward, and Donovan Pines comes to the rescue and takes that one. West Brom goes up on the Owls. Hills heads that one away, and it's going to be easily collected, and Ben Hinchliff grabs. right footer. 10 minutes left in a game that's been over since it was really a 5 to 7 minute spurt in the first half by Stockport County to grab 2 goals, 2 mistakes, really. And other than that, it's been more just sniffing about and no real magic. Dejevigny over to the right-hand side. Lembekisa looking to try and get a cross in. 20 yards out. He's going to draw back to Dejevigny. Does. Dejevigny can't find anything, so looking for Pines. It's a switch on. Pines puts it through to the middle. Connell, left-hand side. Earl. Keeler Dunn, 30 yards out. Dejevigny, the switch back over to the right-hand side. He's going to have Lembekisa over to his right. Cross on the deck. Keeler Dunn spins to his right, to his left. Connell back to Keeler Dunn. Connell over to Dejevigny. Right footer. That was a wasted opportunity. Keeler Dunn, though, able to collect it. Can he save it? He can. Collected and then just given away. Nothing there. Dave's leaving the return to Wembley with an option for Wembley if it happens. That's going to be the only part of my trip that's going to bother me is if they qualify for Wembley, I'm going to feel like I'm missing out. And I think if I was to suggest buying a return trip for a weekend at Wembley, my wife would murder me. The poll, interestingly enough, is I'll end that one so we can have a look at it. Is most people agree with you, Brendan, that nothing to worry about on that one. Vaccinations when traveling to Vancouver. Standard flu influenza stuff if you were going to do it. And just don't take any needles from Hastings. Because you don't know what you'll get. Full-time, Millwall through to the 5th round, taking out Leeds. What would you call that? A minor surprise, W&G? I would have thought Leeds would have handled Millwall, but Connolly gets it to Hinchcliffe. Nothing there for Keeler Dunn. 6 minutes left and not a whole lot of added time in this one, I would suspect, as it winds down. So the poll, is the Bolton game on Tuesday banana peel or not? 62% said no, nothing to worry about. 25% yes, said but we'll win anyway, and 12% said yes, and I don't feel good about it. That's more towards where I'm leaning. If we lose on penalties, I'm going to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut gallery with the in the background. I can only tell you how I feel.
Well, you've got the magic with the toque, and you know you have the reverse magic with the reverse jinx, and you keep doing it anyway. So
Russell gets it over Phillips, right-hand side. Ouch. Keeler Dunn, what was that? I don't know what he was trying to do with that one, Keeler Dunn. I don't know if he was trying to head that on for another pass or just misplayed that one as far as the header trying to get it towards goal. Spun it around and just got it on the right-hand side of his noggin instead of the left, and so it just rolls out for a harm. Was he just trying to chip that up into the corner and just missed it entirely?
There was another guy streaking in from the right. I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, was he trying to slide it over to him? Because that didn't make any sense. Just a weird play. I think what he was trying to do was to catch it just enough to get it and lift it over to that far left corner, and he didn't get enough of it. Shots are 11-10. Barnsley's taken the lead on this one, and Stockport's largely parked the bus. I can go through the stats here because we probably want to wrap this one up anyway shortly thereafter. Other than seeing them at Wembley, I'm too focused on the triple promotion to worry about the cup. Yeah, I get that. thing is I'm still, and I said this early on in the trophy competition, is I'm happy with the depth. And so as long as we don't overcook ourselves going through the competition, then I'm happy to continue to advance through, right? If we were still in the FA or the EFL Cup, I'd be taking a different stance on the trophy and just being like, get out of it. Like Birmingham City still, and they've got their game yet to come for the FA Cup against Newcastle, but they're in the FA and they're in the EFL trophy. I don't know if they're still in the EFL Cup or not, or what happened to them in the EFL Cup.
What do you think about, because like you said, it's a trophy game against Bolton, trying Longman and Barney on the field at the same time?
So I missed that because I was reading this from Stephen talking about the Wrexham lineup and how they're going to win 5-2 today. Let's make it 54-3 while we're at it. Because it's going to be tough to watch any Wrexham match today, it being postponed. I will say this, and I'm curious whether they fixed it. I noticed it yesterday. When you go to the Wrexham website for videos and you go there, it still says that the game was on, or it did yesterday at 11 p.m. my time when I went. Yeah, it says Wrexham versus Leyton Orient is live in 45 minutes.
Could be a lot of people sitting there at iFollow going, what's the matter?
I'm not getting it. Yeah, and I'm with you, Dave. Cup winners every year, but nobody's ever had triple promotion in the EFL. Lower leagues, there's been 3-4 teams that have done it. It gets split. I actually don't know the EFL trophy split. I know the EFL Cup gets split 45-45-10. But as Stephen is getting a parade of yellow cards in the 11th hour. 2 minutes left in this one. Sorry, now go ahead with your question. I got completely distracted there, Brendan. I'm sorry.
How about you go with the same starting lineup from the last league game, and maybe you keep Barney and Longman on at the same time, and you figure out, if you have an idea about what you're going to do with Longman, you try him out the first half of the game at the other spot.
See, and that's what I'd love that. And then, I mean, I don't know who you bring in to spell Barney on that right-hand side. Those it would be my only concern. Ford's now gone. Bolton, are we bringing him in? Is it Revan that you're bringing in? Is that sub on the right-hand side? So you're relying on McLean? I guess, yeah, there's options. But yeah, I think that would be my preference, would be, and I'd make some other changes. I mean, Harry Ashfield played well enough, his first ever goal in a Wrexham kit. 18 years of age. That's got to be a lot of fun for the local lad to grab that one. So Harry Ashfield can get another go for me for the Bolton game. Scar in for EOC. I'm good with George Evans getting a run out. And letting the midfielders have a little bit of a break again. Port Vale finds a late goal. 3-3 League Two. That one's had lots of action. Port Vale went up. Swindon came back and then went back up. Port Vale now drawing it equal. Stephen says Barnett and Longman at the wings is dangerous. Lots of great crosses. See, will we get good crosses from Longman on the left, though?
No.
Because that's what Hull City's criticism was, is he can't cross from that side. And so what Brennan and I have been suggesting is, can you have him working with Barnett over on that right-hand side, so you've got two dangerous crossing options over from that position as he fills in over on the right side of our midfield.
Why don't we move him to the center midfield on that right side, and then the Lee spot is Rathbone. So slide Rathbone over to the Lee spot.
Barnsley, Keeler done. Score. Oh, it scores. 1 minute left in regular time as the clean sheet's over. Barnsley's trying to catch that. That hit the woodwork, and I thought when it hit the woodwork it was going to come right back out, but instead Keeler Dunn able to get it, bang it in, and it's going to go to left-hand side. The Barnsley fans are muted in their celebration. I don't think there's going to be a lot of added time on this one. And that is the broadcaster jinx coming into play there, as it gets over to Keeler Dunn and lots of space in the right foot, chips it off of the woodwork, and it bounces off and just crosses in. And I guess that's the question. Can Barnett cross from the other side? Could you swap out McLean, put Barney on that side, and leave Bolton on the right? These are all of the questions that I don't have answers to.
I've seen him chip stuff with his off foot, although
I have seen him chip it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not going to be great.
Wouldn't it be something if Barnsley rescues something in the death in this one? Donovan Pines is looking up, running the ball. He's pulling the EOC, pushing it forward up to Phillips on the right-hand side across the halfway line, looking for Keeler Dunn too heavy on that ball. And Hinchcliffe goes and collects and lays on the ball, slow to get himself up.
Well, that was helpful, at least with goal difference, that Stockport would have been tied with us. Goal difference if it wasn't for that.
Oh, we'll take it. Stephen Reed got message retraction, and I can't even see it. These are things that Parky needs to test out. I'm sure he has tested them out on the pitch, on the training pitch. I would hope. But I want to see him. I have curiosity. So I would take that as an option. If you're not going to put Longman over on the right-hand side of the midfield, put him over on the right-hand side and have Barney swap over to the left. See what that looks like for a half. And that one's an easier, safer play as far as subs goes, because you've got Revan and McLean who can come in and spell Barney so you don't tax him too hard, and at least you get an idea of how that's going to work. 1 minute left of added time. Stockport with it, keeping it close, trying to get it to the corner flag. Wooten's going to go and chase it down and try and get it there, and he's kicked it out for a throw-in rather than a goal kick. All the way from the back, clearing it forward. Earl running forward. 30 seconds left in this one. Long ball, missing everybody, and Hinchcliffe just collects it and falls to ground.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I don't think he'd be effective enough. He'd better than most with his off foot, but not effective enough to play better than McLean out there.
Is the sum of those two parts better than... I don't know. We're over 3 minutes. Hurry up and get it underway. You can't sit there and rest on your laurels there, Gauchi. It's over. Was that 5 wins in a row? Five wins in a row for Stockport County brings them up to 53 points. 5 in a row or 4 in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. Reading, since they lost to Mansfield Town on January 4th, they beat Reading 3-1, Crawley Town 2-0, Shrewsbury 1-0, Leyton Orient 1-0, and Barnsley 2-1. Upcoming for Stockport, Bristol Rovers on Tuesday in the league. Then they've got Wigan Athletic on Saturday, Cambridge United, Blackpool, Northampton Town, and then they get into the weeds in March where they've got Charlton, Bolton, Wrexham, before they get Burton, Stevenage, Exeter City, Rotherham, Peterborough, and then they finish the last 3 games with Huddersfield, Lincoln City, and Stockport. So for them, they're looking good, and they've got a run-in that looks certainly manageable. Angel, nice to see you. We'll probably sign this one out. As far as the stats go, bring those up, and I'll just do a quick little run-through before we bang off. We're going to be back here. We'll jump on the other one somewhat early. It's 7 o'clock start, and so maybe give us 15 minutes or so. Jump on 15 minutes early for that one. So make sure I guess I could find the link for that one. If the stats are up, 57% possession, the shots ended up 13-10, all of those coming into the second half, or 12 of them anyway. 12 of the 13 shots in the second half, all 5 on target in the second half, all 2 big chances in the second half. The accurate passes went up to 82%. Up from 68% in the first half for Barnsley. So this is just Barnsley forgot to get off the bus. Stockport took it to them. 2 horrible defensive miscues, one by Donovan Pines, missing that right-footed attempt and Oloafe finding the back of the net. And then the other one, just a long switch entry over to the right-hand side and too slow getting there. So, and Wickham losses would be amazing, but none of the top three playing today. And before we leave, Dave Foster says, with little time I've seen Longman, I'd like to see more Barnett McLean with Longman replacing Cannon. And so, that's what Brendan's been suggesting is we see Bolton. The Bolton game is an excellent opportunity to try that out. Put McLean on the bench, potentially, or put Cannon on the bench, one of the two, and then have Barnett on the right and Longman.
I'd want Rathman for Lee, though, in that scenario.
Yep. I'm with you. Charlton 2-0 against Stevenage. Stevenage's aggression has ceased. They got a whole parade of yellow cards there as they got angry on that one. Fair enough. I'm going to grab the link for the other one and post it in here and then bounce around with a couple of things, and we'll be back for Huddersfield versus Reading. So I'm going to go and use the facilities and grab a coffee. Brennan, you don't have to wait for me if you wanted to jump on the stream and carry the load until I get in. The link is there. I will pin it so you guys can slide over and wait for us over there. Thanks for joining us for this one. Appreciate it. We'll be back for the second half as we follow along and soak up all the teams around as we wait for Wrexham to get queued up on Tuesday. I'm still shocked that it's on the Wrexham webpage is starting live in 35 minutes and 9 seconds. Those are the part-time fans that you're trying to capture that you're frustrating, because for those of us that follow and know the sources, but when you go to the club, you expect the club to get it right of whether they're playing today, right? Frustrating on that end. Only light loads, please. There you go. Brendan's going to carry the light load. Thanks for being here for this one. We'll sign off. We'll catch you over in the other stream in a moment. See you there. Have a good one. Take care. This one, an easy one for Stockport, really, even though it ended up 2-1. Why the Wrexham game postponed? Sorry, but if I'm still on, Brendan. The Wrexham game was postponed because Leyton Orient has an FA Cup match, I believe.
Yes.
And so they played today. Against Man City. They played against Man City and lost that one 2-1. So they played. So that was postponed. There it is. We'll sign off. We'll catch you over there later.